a lot on prescriptions and ecological science, but less on economics. So solutions, biomass, the cost of not doing action. And then the other is LIDAR data for the state. And along with that, kind of all together is just an elevator speech that we could give people that would really highlight the facts and the data on the issue. So you have 5 minutes with Dan Gibbs, what is the issue, or anybody else. For fire-adapted communities, outreach materials to customers, and so that could be anybody from the timber industry to the recreation community to realtors, just good outreach material. And then the other one is full commitment to do prescriptions. A lot of times in fire-adapted communities, we see something, but it's not the full level of prescription that needs to be implemented. So we're kind of giving people a false sense of security that they're actually doing something good. On landscape resilience, early engagement from partners, all partners. And then we have a huge workforce issue in terms of capacity on the industry side. And I can tell you, I don't have any young loggers. So that's a problem moving forward. And then fire, I'm sure we're going to hear this from most everybody, but we really need more prescribed fire, and our state agencies to be able to do more prescribed fire. And then coordination of treatment. So often we have mechanical treatment done, and then we don't quickly follow up with the fire treatment that needs to get done. So that's both a social issue as well as an ecological issue.
I'm with the Resilient Landscape. So what we need from science is science is easy for non-fire managers, I meant non-scientists to understand. That could be managers, that could be the public. We also need to ensure that we're answering questions that managers need answered, not just research projects and models for conceptual, but tools that we can actually use on the ground. From fire-adapted communities, we need to focus on work outside of the home ignition zone, tying work into watershed levels. We need greater inclusion of planning councils for outreach to our communities. For fire on the landscape, we need to coordinate with local, state, and federal managers and fire departments on strategy and tactics. And to tag on with what Molly said, we need more emphasis on prescribed fire. We need to communicate barriers to other partners so that we can get more done on the landscape. And then regarding industry, we need to understand the barriers and what the needs are for more industry in Colorado. We need to find out how we can utilize small wood products better, and then how to work in steep and inaccessible areas. What methods can we use and products can we produce?
I'm with the science group, and what we need from fire-adapted communities is we're interested in understanding about treatment tracking versus WUI creation. What does our proportion of acres treated look like versus WUI created? So how are we getting, can we possibly get ahead every time we treat a subdivision or something, or 3 more subdivisions created? So we need more information on treatment tracking versus WUI development. We also, from fire-adapted communities, need to identify clearer concerns and needs, feedback, what information are fire-adapted communities tracking? What kind of information do they need if they have people coming in from out of state? Do they know what their demographic is? What we need from fire, interested feedback on ember transport and ignition obstruction. What kind of ember dynamics are there that we need to know more about? Also, fire can provide more of a liaison of ambassadors between fires and communities, so that we have from groups ambassadors from these other groups coming to science, saying this is what we need, instead of more the loading dock delivery of science. From resilient landscapes, generally better connections and feedback on what's working in terms of science that's been applied. Success stories. What have been the success stories of science that's been applied on the ground? What we need from industry, how are the decisions made for applying prescriptions on the ground? How is considering fire danger built into where treatments and I guess really when we were talking about industry, I think it was general industry, not just maybe the timber industry. If somebody is building the example was for a smelting plant, if somebody is building something in a fire-prone environment, how are those fire dangers being considered? And does profitability match effective restoration? What are the economics, the profitability economics in developing effective restoration, restored landscapes?
Asked to make prescribed fire a requirement as an end state versus some of the other mitigation methods. We're from fire.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry. Secondly, we would like to ask for strategic landscape planning and implementation for our fire-adapted communities. I would like to ask sharing of success stories and what has worked for other communities, as well as looking at some of the success stories as well as some of the failures to do nothing in a comparison, so there's more outreach. Which takes us to the second requirement, is to ask for, to take messaging and outreach to a whole new level. I mean, we're talking Super Bowl. We keep talking to ourselves about what we all need, and we all shake our heads. What the public needs, how do we get that out there? And do we need a funny animal video on Facebook that will be shared 10 million times? I don't know, but we would really like to have more public outreach from those individuals. From science, we'd really like to see more social science regarding preparedness. Why will people not act? Why will people not step forward? There's a big concentration in the future. We'd also like to see a unified front towards research to assist and plan to create a roadmap for best outcomes. I mean, does a lodgepole forest going to burn or is it not going to burn? And it's kind of like wearing sunscreen. Is it good for me or is it bad for me? We have to make a decision so we can help each other out.
Did you put that unified front towards research too?
Yeah, unified front towards research to assist in a plan or give us a roadmap for best outcomes. And then coming up with like a metrics of just being able to provide the data of what is going to work best. For industry, if it's not a big deal, could you come up with a civil product for all of those uncivil products like lodgepole, oak brush, manzanite, and juniper? We'd like to see a better job with standards for other industries. We know that this affects real estate, those water usage fees, biomass, surcharges. There's a lot of industries that get affected by this, and I think industry takes a large part in trying to find out solutions for all of those byproducts that are affected by wildfire.
Contractors, mitigation specialists, foresters, etc., working toward fire-adapted communities. We also would like engagement of non-traditional industry partners to encourage fire adaptation, such as the cannabis industry and the breweries. From science, we would like other folks have said, social science data that is digestible to identify true barriers to action and also identify specific tactics. Fire. We would like support in the next steps to Colorado's fire adapted community. So we would like our fire partners at all levels to support the next steps to Colorado's fire-adapted communities to move toward action by overcoming barriers to planned and unplanned fires. And I can give you a copy of this.
Yeah. We're fire. We don't follow along quickly.
And you're going to need it written down. Okay, and then listed landscapes. We have found that sometimes defensible space just isn't enough, and we need more landscape scale treatments, and we need help with the funding of these cross-boundary projects and connecting existing projects